Tonight, the U.S. Department of Labor is set to pause a program that offers free education and vocational training for young people.
We got the phone call that people are leaving, packing up their stuff, and I started crying in the middle of work.
Emotions have been reverberating across the Job Corps New Haven campus.
The president has an initiative in which he wants to create 1 million apprenticeship opportunities, wants to make America skilled again. And yet we're shutting down the federal program that's a trade school.
Hello, professionals. My name is Dr. Ellison, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Be Professional Consultancy. And I have a very important topic that I wanted to talk to you about today. Job Corps nationwide pause by the Department of Labor. And if you are not familiar with Job Corps, I'll make sure to inform you today, but this is a very hot topic and a very important one for me. If you are not familiar, we operate from a biblical worldview. Our scripture for today comes from Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 16, and it reads like this: Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. I'll read it again. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. And what I like most about this scripture in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 16 is that it teaches us, number one, to make the most of every opportunity, and number two, in these evil days. If you are anything like me, if you are a girly that watches the ID channel, or a guy that watches the news or forensic files, or you are just tapped into what is going on, you know that we are living in some trying times and some evil and wicked days. And it is important that we make the most of every opportunity. The challenging part is that we don't know what is a good opportunity, what is a bad opportunity, are we missing opportunities? And that's why these scriptures and the teaching from the Bible is so important for our wisdom to make the most of opportunity, which is going to require us to lean in, lock in, and pay attention to what we have going on around us, especially in the days and the times that we're living in. So today we're going to be talking about Job Corps. So if you are unfamiliar, June of 2025, the Department of Labor has suspended Job Corps Center operations. Now, this has drawn bipartisan pushback. So, regardless of whether you are independent, Republican, or Democrat, there has been some pushback toward the Department of Labor for suspending this program. And there are numerous reasons why there is some pushbacks, because this program has been in existence for over half a century. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about Job Corps. So this program is nested, as stated, under the Department of Labor and can be found underneath Employment and Training Administration. So if you go to the Department of Labor website, Job Corps is nested there under Employment and Training Administration. So Job Corps is just one of several programs and resources that the Department of Labor, that the federal government makes available to American citizens. So there are several benefits that Job Corps has. They offer a variety of high growth industry skill sets. Some of them include advanced manufacturing, automotive and machine repair, finance and business, healthcare, skills like homeland security, transportation, information technology, that's a high one, and hospitality. And there's several other types of skill sets and industry sectors that Job Corps gets into, and it just depends on where in the United States you're located and where your Job Corps is as to what programs and industry sectors that would be available to you. So students can earn a high school diploma at Job Corps or an equivalent, so like a GED, college credits also. A part of Job Corps also is that young adults between the ages of 16 to 24 would have tuition, free housing and meals, kind of like going off to college. But the difference between Job Corps and sending a young adult off to college is that Job Corps is funded by the federal government. So, as I mentioned earlier, Job Corps has been in operation since 1964. So, this program is over 60 years old and has trained over 2 million young adults. And it is administered by the Department of Labor, again, for that younger college age sector. So from ages 16 to 24, they offer free education and vocational training. Their primary goal is gainful employment. Let me say that again. The primary goal for Job Corps is gainful employment. So, as we think about the marketplace, as we think about the state of our economy, as we look at what is going on right now, as we take a look at the news, as we look at what's going on in our communities, don't we want young adults between the ages of 16 to 24 to have some of those skills in those sectors that I talked about, to be gainfully employed, to get out there in the workplace and start getting some of this experience, right? Job Corps is also useful for the preparation of military service. So this program was started back in the 60s under President Johnson. So during that time was around the Vietnam War, and they noted that there were some manpower shortages. So not only did this program equip young Americans to get some of these skills that would help them in the marketplace, it also equipped them so that they would have some hard skills and some soft skills that the government could also then employ to the military sector. And then the war on poverty that was a result of that as well. So having those skills made it possible for people to have the skill set necessary so that they could have that gainful employment. So Job Corps has so many benefits to it. But again, what separates this program from other types of schools and institutions that young people go to is that this one in particular is a federally funded program. Now, putting a pause on this program or seeking to shrink the program is nothing new. So, under Presidents Nixon and Reagan, they also sought to shrink this program. But despite those efforts, it has continued because of that bipartisan congressional support. So, investing in our young people is an investment in our economy, it's an investment in the marketplace, right? You want to make sure that you have people that can positively contribute to society, positively contribute to the marketplace by having the skills that are needed when they're needed out there, right? In order to get into Job Corps, there is, of course, a criteria for entry. It's age, and there's some other things that you have to have in order to qualify to get into the program. But the primary reason why they're seeking and they have already paused this program is according to the secretary for the Department of Labor, is its cost effectiveness and safety as being a primary concern, especially since the 2019 pandemic. So it is reported, according to the secretary, that there are high costs and low graduation rates. So basically, they're saying the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So it is reported that the graduation rates are below 40%. So about 38.6% is what they are reporting the graduation rates to be. Now, if you know anything about Job Corps or programs like this, for one, it's for that young demographic of Americans, and then a lot of these young people are coming from challenged background, maybe low income families, or dangerous, or challenging backgrounds or neighborhoods. And so, but what I will say about that is that this is very nuanced. And that is part of the reason why there is so much bipartisan congressional support. That we have to be honest about what it is that we're reporting, how we're reporting it, how we're looking at it, and whether or not Job Corps and other programs like it need to continue to have that funding. Because as we talk about cost effectiveness and safety, if you go online and look at the Department of Education Campus Safety and Security Report, so there's actually a security report where you can drill down every campus that has a residence. So, for example, University of Georgia or University of Pennsylvania or Harvard, you can practically go to the Department of Education. They're required to provide a campus safety and security report. The security issues that they're concerned about with Job Corps are not too different from any other college campus, any other campus that has young people with around that age group. You're talking about um young people that are around that age where they start drinking alcohol, or depending on if the campus and the dorms are in a city area, just the things that are associated with that. So again, we have to be honest about the reporting, what we're looking at, and look at these things in context, because it is vitally important that we are investing in that 16 to 24 demographic. Because if we don't make sure that people have the skills that they need to work, then how are we not going to be contributing to that war, that same war on poverty that they were working to fight back in the 60s? We're just basically going to be repeating history, right? So we have to look at the accountability that needs to be put in place, because Job Corps isn't new. You just don't all of a sudden start having financial issues, start having low graduation rates. There has to be some sort of processes, standards, procedures, audits, and reporting that has happened over these 61 years, right? So, just some things to consider and how nuanced this is. But I definitely think that it is important to bring that to you, because a lot of people aren't really familiar with Job Corps and how it works. But now that the program is on pause, what do you do?
Be
What do we do
professional.
now? What are we going to do? Because Dr. Burks and I here at Be Professional have been strong advocates for getting skills, and not necessarily telling everybody that they need to get a 4-year degree or go out and get a master's degree, or to be like us and go out and get a doctorate's degree. We've been encouraging people to get apprenticeship. Now, one of the things that you can do is go to apprenticeship.gov, and that is apprenticeship.gov. And I'll put something here so you can see what that website looks like. That is apprenticeship.gov. Now, this website, you can go in here and put the skill set that you're looking for. So if that is healthcare or culinary arts or carpentry or whatever skill you may be interested in, this particular site is not just for a specific age demographic. Whereas Job Corps was for that 16 to 24-year-old demographic, the apprenticeship.gov is pretty much for anybody. And some of these apprenticeships are paid and some of them are not. But again, as we talked about that scripture, making the most of opportunity, where they tried to put one on pause, we'll just figure out what other resources are available to us. And here is one of those resources. So there's a map here and you can just go by region, or maybe you may be interested in relocating and figuring out what opportunities are out there. The next one I would say would be to go to the Department of Labor. If you gone back to some of our previous videos, I've put that website up before. You can actually see what the trending job market is like, see what jobs they're looking, the American job market is like, what jobs are trending, what they're looking for, what are the top high paid jobs, what are the jobs that they are needed. You can drill down by your city and state, what the education requirements are, what the qualifications are. So even though they've hit the pause on the Job Corps program, the Department of Labor still is a valuable resource for information. It's still up, it's still a publicly available website that we can still use to gather information and data, right? So another opportunity for us. Now, Coursera. I am not sponsored by Coursera, nor have I taken any courses there, but I have worked with people who have. Coursera has collaborated with, according to them, over 350 leading universities and companies like Google and IBM. They have all different types of certification courses that you can take here. And, just to tell you a little bit of personal story about myself, I come from a single parent home and I am a first generation college graduate, and my family couldn't afford college. And I wound up getting into a lot of student loan debt as a very young adult. Initially, I wanted to get into the medical field. And so I went and to a technical school and got a medical certification. And we have to invest in ourselves. So if there's a way to get some sort of free apprenticeship or certification somewhere, I would encourage you to do it. I took out a student loan and went to a technical course and got a certification. And I will tell you, all I needed was a crack in the door. All I needed was an opportunity. I just needed to just stick my little pinky toe in there, and it just opened up a world of opportunity and experience for me into the medical field, which opened up management opportunities and leadership opportunities and tuition assistance. And I wound up going into the military and getting the GI Bill, and I was able to go on and get my master's degree and my doctorate's degree and a plethora of other certifications and experiences. So, make the most, like we said about that scripture that we read from Ephesians, make the most out of every opportunity in these evil days. All we need is to find a crack in the door. So, just look for ways. And, I invested in myself and took out a student loan. And back then I was able to get a, student loan in combination with the Pell Grant and stuff like that. So you just have to find ways to work and navigate the system and negotiate obstacles to get where it is that you are trying to get, because you're not here by accident. You were designed and created for a purpose. There is a specific work for you. And then putting the pause on Job Corps, um, I don't technically, you know, think that that is probably a wise thing for that demographic. However, we gonna keep it moving around here, right? So, Coursera is just one another uh thing that you may consider as far as a place you can go to see what types of certifications that they have available to you. And then again, with that being said, Dr. Burks and I have talked before about some of the companies that are out there that have tuition assistance, tuition reimbursement, and some of them have apprenticeships. So there are just so many different ways to kind of navigate around the obstacle that we have before us. So as they have hit the pause button on Job Corps, and I don't know if they will, you know, unsuspend that program or not, but it is not the end of the road. We will figure it out. God will make a way. Am encouraging you to stay encouraged and just remember that you are here for a reason and for a purpose. And we are solution minded and we will figure it out, right? And so I am just wanted to bring that to you here because some of you may have been affected by the pause in this Job Corps program. And we'll just be in prayer for everyone because some of the people that are participating in the Job Corps program, as I stated, this is for some people, a resident program, and a lot of them had to stop their program and they weren't finished with it. Some people have stated, I've seen some news report of students that maybe become homeless because they just stopped the program without any notice at all. So we'll just be in prayer that people will be able to find opportunities and be able to negotiate these obstacles, making the most of every opportunity in these evil days. But I am encouraging you to stay encouraged, encourage yourself, encourage others, and with all things and always be professional.